Good morning, everyone. I welcome you all to session number 33 of ICF Sunday webinar series. And today's topic is the world of book publicity and marketing. And our speaker for today is Rachna Kalra, owner of Windward Consultancy. It's a communications firm that deals with marketing and publicity of books. And she has worked with all the major publishers in Delhi in India. And she also works with authors, and the list of bestseller authors that she has worked with, that's quite long. So I will let her take over and tell you more about it.
Thank you so much, Vivek, for the introduction. And yes, like Vivek mentioned, I have about, a little less than 2 decades of experience in publishing, but more than 2 decades overall in communications. I have worked with Penguin Random House. I've had set up the marketing and publicity team at Pan Macmillan India, worked with Oxford University Press, worked with Juggernaut, worked as a consultant with Hachette. I worked on projects with Amazon Westland, and pretty much, I think I've worked closely with a whole lot of publishers, trade publishing primarily, though I did manage to get a good understanding of academic publishing also when I was with Oxford University Press. I've worked with so many authors, it's going to be very hard for me to list them all out. But, some names that you'll probably recognize include Amartya Sen, Jairam Ramesh, Twinkle Khanna, Rujuta Divekar, William Dalrymple, Jeffrey Archer, Rupa Pai. I think that's quite a lot of names already. Most recently, I'm currently actually working with Vinay Sitapati, who's an academic and a historian and a political biographer, on his book called Jugalbandi, the BJP before Modi. I don't know if you guys have, it's been a lot in the news, and most recently there was an interview with Karan Thapar. So I don't know if you are aware of the book. And just prior to that, I worked on Dr. Isharja Jalwalia's memoir just before she passed away. So those are the 2 most recent projects. But last year I worked on quite a few others. Besides book marketing and publicity, I also work on other communications projects. It could be pretty much anything, because I do have a lot of experience in PR as well. So in my talk today, I'm essentially going to cover some basic points on how to approach marketing, how to approach publicity. And Vivek mentioned that we are focusing on self-publishing. So that's what so my focus is actually going to be more on book marketing. And, just try and give you an understanding of how to approach marketing and how you can try and think of creating a little bit of a buzz around your book, or getting your book noticed, or getting it visibility. So let me just try and share my screen if I can, because I'm on my iPad now. It's, it's just going to... Vivek, you have to give me permission to share screen. And please excuse my voice. I'm having tech problems, and my throat is also not that great today. So please bear with me. Vivek, I'm not able to share my screen.
Murugaraj will have to do that.
Yeah, so if you can, if you can just pause on the first slide. I'll in any case open it, on my laptop so I can simultaneously go through it. Yeah, but let me in any case just start off And, the few points before I start. Today's talk is actually meant to give you an overview on book marketing and publicity. It's not going to give you, very specific campaign ideas and things like that. It's going to give you an overview. And this is actually what has worked for me and resulted in many successful campaigns. Other book publicists and marketers may approach things differently, but this is how I approach book marketing and publicity. And so far, it seems to have worked for me. And what I'm here to do today is to remind you of some of the basic things that an author or an editor, needs to think about while keeping marketing in mind. Also, I will not go into specifics of social media platforms because that's a completely different area of expertise. Plus, it's going to require a separate session to talk you through some of the platforms and channels that are available in greater detail. I hope you have a lot of questions for me at the end, so I'm going to try and keep this as brief as possible so that we can have more of a conversation rather than, just a monologue from me. So, Vivek, can you share your screen or should I just start talking?
Yeah, I have asked Muruguraj to make the co-host.
So okay.
Just give me a moment, please.
Sure, no problem. So in any case, let me just start off by saying that I think everyone out here knows that, the books business is a very, very challenging space. Be it publishing, be it marketing or whatever it is, there's a whole lot of competition out there. It's very, very difficult. You today are in a market that is dominated by a lot of the bigs. You're talking about big bestsellers, you're talking about big authors, you're talking about big names like celebrities, big publishers, and also people who have big budgets. So everyone is competing against all those. And, publishers and people are quite hesitant to take a chance with somebody new. And I'm sure that's something that all of you have, come across or experienced. Pitching a book to a publisher is not easy. Marketing a book is not easy. Convincing the people to even read your book or even think about publishing your book. I mean, at every stage, you do face a lot of challenges. But I'm here to tell you that while, it is challenging, it's not necessarily impossible. But what you really, really need to do is invest some time and, unfortunately, you do need to have at least a little bit of a budget because nothing in today's world actually comes free. So you have to be willing to spend a lot of time. I think that's of utmost importance. And you do have to have some kind of a budget. And how you utilize the budget is something that I'll come to a little later. I mean, I know in self-publishing, it's even tougher. And, you have to even get into little things like how is my book going to be priced, whether it's going to have a physical edition, how am I going to distribute it, all those kind of things. But, I think you'll be happy to know that even published authors or first-time authors, even if they go with a first-time publisher when it comes to marketing, they find the space equally competitive. So whether it's, you're going through a regular publisher or you're self-publishing, the fact that you have to set aside time for publicity and marketing is a given for anyone. Let me just tell you a little bit of how I segregate book marketing and book publicity. Book publicity is basically using the media, be it print, be it broadcast, be it radio, be it online, to actually create visibility for your book. And visibility, I think that is something that you should note down because that is a word that I'm going to really mention very frequently because that is what marketing is all about, creating visibility for your book. In publicity, you use the media. And by media, I mean earned media. And that means media that you're not paying for. I'm not talking about advertorials. I'm not talking about paid promotions or anything like that. But, things like book reviews, things like interviews, things like op-eds, anything that you can get for free in a media outlet is what we call earned media. And that is what we term as book publicity. Unfortunately, for self-publishing, it can be, self-published authors, that can be a little difficult because many media outlets have this unwritten rule or policy that they don't really take, self-published books or authors into consideration while, if you approach them for a review or an interview. That's not to, again, say that it's absolutely impossible, but you have to find ways and means, especially if you if there's besides an author or a writer, if you have another kind of a profile that can be pitched, if your book is very topical, if it has a message, etc. So there are things that you can do to try and approach media outlets, but it is a little more difficult for self-published authors, or even for debut authors, for that matter, even if they have the backing of a well-known publisher. And interestingly, most media outlets also focus more on nonfiction, and they don't really cover too much of commercial fiction and a lot of other genres. So, please don't feel, if you're a self-published author, please don't feel isolated, or don't feel as if, that channel is completely closed to you. You just have to think about how you want to approach it. Book marketing, on the other hand, my description of book marketing is using or utilizing any and all other and different channels to create visibility for your book. And this includes everything or anything that goes beyond publicity. So, some of the traditional channels that publishers use, or are, distributors, retailers, bookstores, Amazon, a whole lot of other channels for getting your book out there. And traditional marketing, sorry, I'm just breaking it up into channels, which you don't really need to focus on. But when it comes to book marketing, traditional marketing has basically focused on retail promotions, point of sale material, events and collaborations and associations. When you talk about retail promotions, when I started off in book marketing, the only way that you could get visibility for your book was either getting some reviews out, or you could create posters, you could create bookmarks. Even literature festivals actually started off much later. I think Jaipur was the only one that was an option for authors. It was very, very small. Now, of course, you have a lot more literary festivals. So there's a retail where you have posters, bookmarks, shelf talkers, book pile-ups. But unfortunately, like anything else today, this is a paid for space. And if you talk to any bookstore, most of them will charge you for a display at their outlet. Events, they continue to be important. I'm talking about book launches, and I'll come right at the end because I'm sure a lot of you will have this question about book launches, and I'll come to it a little later. Other kinds of events, speaker opportunities, literature festivals, and also collaborations and associations. So these are the traditional forms of marketing, but today's day and age, these are certainly not enough. And the way online space has opened up, you definitely need to create a presence there as well to reach out to a much, much larger audience. Sorry, just give me a minute, please.
You can share your screen now.
Okay, that'll be very helpful. Can everyone see my screen?
Not yet.
Okay, that's... So I really don't know why there's a problem.
Maybe you can send the presentation to Vivek or
Yeah.
Nirup and Raj, then they
Yeah.
can open it.
Vivek, you have the presentation, right? Should I mail it to you? And you can just share your screen. I think that just might be easier. I'll just send it to you right now. I'm so sorry, everyone, but this is the first time that Zoom has acted upon me. And I really have no idea why. Vivek, I've just sent it to you again. So in the meantime, I'll just continue. So today you have a lot more options that go beyond the traditional way of marketing your books, and these include, digital marketing, social media marketing. You have Amazon. You can definitely look at Amazon for a lot of promotions. You can do things like, you have what you call influencers. You can look at a blogger engagement program, and there are so many other things out there. Traditional marketing does continue to be very, very important, but it's not enough. You need to just kind of, look at everything very cohesively and bring everything together, both traditional and the newer ways of marketing. So, now that you have all these options to reach out to your reader, what do you do now? So the way I look at it is I create a strategic marketing plan. I identify all the channels and platforms that I think are going to work for the particular book that I'm working on. And then I put together a marketing plan that will, a strategic marketing plan that'll help me get that kind of buzz and create that kind of buzz and get that kind of visibility. So when do you start? You have a book, you've written a book. When do you actually begin? That's a question that I get asked very, very frequently. I also talk to a lot of, I haven't worked independently on any self-published books, but I do talk to a lot of authors who are self-publishing. And, it's a very, very important question. When do I begin? Ideally, you should actually start thinking about, marketing. You can't possibly think about marketing the moment you start writing the book, because that's what your focus is. But definitely, I think the moment you write the last page or the last line of the book, you immediately need to start thinking about marketing. It takes a long time to think about what you actually want to do, and execution itself takes a lot of time as well. So it's important for you to give yourself that kind of time frame to put together your entire marketing. A lot of times I've also advised authors to postpone publishing their book till they actually have a solid marketing plan in place. If you ask me for a specific time frame, I would say give it 6 months, or at least give it 3 months to think through everything, to plan it all out. And, then when you have your book out, then actually get into the execution part of it. The second question is, of course, you've decided that you do want to do some marketing, you have decided on a budget, but then where do you begin? Where do you start? So I have put down a few points which are in the PPT, unfortunately, but I'll take you through them. There are two key questions that you should begin with. One is, who is my book meant for? And the second is, what is my book all about? And I'm sure these are questions that some of you already answer when you think about a book, when you talk about a book, when you're writing your book. But I've also found in many cases that authors, because they are very, very involved in writing their book, they don't come to these kind of questions till a very late stage. And it's very important for you to think about who your reader is. So when I actually, interestingly, when I ask a lot of authors, as to who their reader is, okay, great. I think we're going to start screen sharing. So that will be really helpful.
There's nothing turning up on the screen, Murugash.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll continue in the meantime. So I have a lot of authors talking to me, a lot of people who call me for advice on their books, etc. And when I ask them this basic, but most of our readers don't really do that. People have their favorites. There will be people who love reading short stories. There will be people who just won't read short stories. There will be people who will read, just political biographies. There will be others who will only read crime fiction. If your book or your novel has an underlying feminist theme, is it going to appeal to a YA audience? It's not. What is the age group that you're targeting? If it's a kid's book, you can, definitely look at mothers, you can look at parents and things like that. It's not necessarily going to appeal to a 20-year-old or a 22-year-old. So defining your audience also is very, very helpful. And you can start with broader demographics and then narrow it down. And that we can also create different kinds of messaging for them. Where is your book set? If your book is set in a small town in India, or if it is very, very India-centric, is it going to be of interest to, say, somebody in Zimbabwe? I don't know. So while it may have some kind of a global appeal, it's always better to try and focus geographically also, to readers who are going to be your primary audience. So, and that'll also help you, once you have all this down, it'll also help you identify, what channels and platforms you're going to use to communicate to your readers. So, for example, Instagram has a much younger audience than a Facebook does. You'll find a different kind of audience on Instagram than you'll find on Twitter or on LinkedIn. So this entire exercise of identifying or creating a reader persona is going to help you move to the next step. The second important question is, what is my book's USP? By USP, in marketing, we use the term USP. It means unique selling proposition. Ignore the marketing terminology. It just means what's the hook of your book. So what is it that is going to attract your reader to your book? What is unique about your book? What is so special about your book? What is different about your book? How is it different from, the other books in the same genre that are there? It's also, very important for you to actually know who your competition is. Are there any books that are similar to your book? Because that will help you create a different kind of a hook for your book, so it doesn't look identical to any other book. You can also go back and see those books have worked, what has worked for those books, and try and adapt that into your own marketing strategy. You can start by answering a few simple questions like what will your reader identify with in your story or in your book or through the themes that you cover in the book. I've already mentioned how is it different from other books in the genre. If the theme or storyline is similar to other books, how is yours different? So just to give you an example, if you've written short stories that are set during the pandemic, someone else has written short stories that are set during the pandemic, to a reader they both sound similar. So how is yours different? Is it in the third person? Does it focus on specific kind of an audience? Is there a different kind of an underlying theme to it? And that's how you can present your book to your readers. And so I would say just make your book as relevant to your reader as possible. So now that you've answered these two questions, now what? What are the next steps that you'll take? You worked all this out. Okay, great. I think if you can go to, if you can play this and go to, I think this might be the 4th or 5th slide. Yes, I think if you can just stop here. Couple of points that, I think were there in the earlier slide, which I missed out on, was also, when you're talking about identifying who your reader persona is and where to start from. When you talk about who your book is meant for, what is your book's USP, before you get on to the third step, it's also very important for you to think about your own profile and how you can use where you are, what you do, who you're connected with, your own network, to think about how you want to utilize all that to create awareness, at least within your circles to begin with. And all this will also help you identify your messaging. Can we move on to the next slide, please? Yeah. Okay. So now that you have all this in place, now what do? Now, this is the time for you to think about and understand where your audience is present. I've mentioned that earlier as well. There are different channels, different platforms, and many of them are very, very age-specific or very specific to who your audience is. Think about what are the channels and platforms that work for you. And once you've identified those, then think about how you can utilize those channels. Once you've done all that, you come to the next step of creating your messaging and content. I'm actually going to take you through these a little later in my talk. But these are some of the channels that I actually use, different combinations of these channels that I use for book marketing. If you have, for example, I've mentioned retail here. If you have a physical edition of your book, then it's also a good time right now to think about the bookstores that would be willing to, stock your book. Think about Amazon, how you want to use it. Is a website necessary or not? I'll come to those in detail later, but this is the stage when you have to think of all these channels and what works for you. Can we move on to the next slide, please? Yeah. No, the previous one. Yeah. So just very quickly, would you like me to talk about the recent campaigns now? Would you like me to actually talk about the, these different platforms right now? If everyone could just let me know, then I'll swap it if required.
It would be interesting to hear of the campaigns.
I agree. Let's hear about the campaigns. I think you can insert from the platform.
Campaigns?
Yeah, campaigns.
Yeah. Okay. So I thought I'd talk about 2 or 3 different campaigns and that I worked on recently. And they are, the books are different from each other. So I thought it would be, I think what I'll do is I'll also talk a little bit about each platform and how we used it, try and bring that in, and then right at the end, maybe take you quickly through, give you an overview of all the platforms. The first book that I am going to talk to you about is a book called Girl Power by an author called Neha J. Hiranandani. This was Neha's first book and a children's book. And you can look it up a little later. If you like. The book is called Girl Power, Neha J. Hiranandani. And the way I approached it, or the way the author and I approached it, again, we thought through everything that I've just talked about, thinking about who our reader is, figuring out the channels that we want to use, figuring out what platforms we want to use, what are the options that we have, what kind of a budget the author had. All these things, went into creating that strategic kind of a plan. So there were a few things that we thought through. In this particular author's case, she had a certain presence in the media, and she had written some pieces for Huffington Post. She'd written a few pieces for a few other media outlets. So there was a certain familiarity there. So how we approached it was to try and create a combination of, publicity. Sorry. So we tried to create a best possible combination that would incorporate some publicity that we thought we'd be able to generate for the book, along with book marketing, and using the social media space and some retail space that would help amplify that. So what essentially happens, while publicity is a really, really, good tool to use, a good way to get your book noticed, it also has its limitations like anything else. So if you, get a piece out in Indian Express, it has a certain life, right? Today you have something out in Indian Express, tomorrow something else is going to come out, unless and until it goes viral when it has a much, longer life. So it will reach a certain audience, but this is where we try and use social media to try and amplify, that publicity to reach to a much, much larger audience that goes beyond just readers of Indian Express, as an example. So in Neha's case, what we strategically thought through was using publicity and marketing. When we talked about marketing, there were a few things that we did. We thought about utilizing retail bookstore chain to create visibility. And we didn't only do it through pile-ups or things like that. We tied up with them to create a very, very interesting and fun sort of a campaign that worked through their social media channels also. So retail was one that we used. We identified Instagram as our primary platform that we wanted to use. We also had Facebook, where we did a lot of advertising and created a lot of content. But we found that our audience was mainly going to be on Instagram. The book also had a lot of visuals. So that also lent itself to an Instagram kind of an audience. And the third thing that we did was we actually tied up with a book club also to again help amplify and multiply the impact that we were going to try and create through the Instagram campaign that we ran. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about, the social media platforms here. While it's, once you've found out what kind of a platform you want to use, which is the one that works for you, it's not just enough to just put up a few posts there and that's not going to be enough. It's also important for you to try and create some kind of, a campaign that, again, your readers will identify with. And I'll take you through Neha's campaign to help you understand how that actually, how that actually helps. So we thought of running a campaign through bloggers and Instagrammers, which would bring in not only them, but would bring in their audiences as well. So the campaign that we thought of was called #IamGirlPower, or I think it was #GirlPower. It was one of the two. And the idea was to go a little bit beyond getting them to just review the book. We designed and we actually printed about 100 T-shirts. We identified certain bloggers that fitted in with the kind of profile, reader profile that we were trying to get across to, which was a lot of women, a lot of mothers, and some celebrities. And we got them to talk about the book through a very interesting way. We told them to actually wear the T-shirt. We told them to ask their, audience to identify who the woman on the T-shirt is. And whoever then from their audience identified that woman first would actually also get a signed copy of the book. We tapped, I think, around 50 bloggers. We got them to reach out to at least 1,000 people within their network. And we then further extended this campaign to an on-ground event where we invited bloggers as well. For this, we managed to tie up with Sonali Bendre's book club. Sonali runs a very, very popular book club, and because she is a celebrity, that also helps. And we ran the same campaign from there with a whole lot of bloggers, but it also helped to have Sonali also talk about the campaign, and Sonali also people to join in that campaign. We then extended this campaign also to Momspresso and using the same kind of a hashtag. So what I'm trying to tell you, when I'm talking about this campaign is that if you need to have one underlying theme for each campaign, you have to run it across different platforms. Things don't work in isolation. You can't just have something running at some point on a Facebook. You can't have something running at some point on an Instagram. You can't have something running, on a Twitter at different points of time. The idea is to create some kind of campaign and make sure it runs cohesively, it feeds into each other, try and build into that one single idea that you have and try and make it as big as possible by using different channels. If something's not clear, if you have any questions right now, I'd prefer if you ask me right now, and then I can move on to the next campaign.
Yeah, Rachna, Dola Basu, she was asking whether you have worked with indie authors, and if you have, if you can share a case study about that.
So unfortunately, so far, I haven't worked with indie authors. I haven't had any indie authors really reach reach out to me. And, my experience has been limited to working with publishers or working with authors who approach me directly, but who are being published by, known publisher. So unfortunately, I won't be able to share any case studies, but I can just give you an example of somebody that I follow called Vineet Bajpai. I don't know if any of you have heard of Vineet, but Vineet is somebody who I think when he wrote his first book, it's mythology, and I think he approached a lot of different publishers, but nobody really showed any interest, and that's when he decided to self-publish. And he actually used all the channels that I've talked about, that I just briefly showed earlier. He used digital marketing, he used advertising, he used retail, he used pretty much everything, but that's also because he has a budget to create that kind of visibility for himself. He was present. His books were there at all airport bookstores, at all the at all the big bookstores. He was everywhere when it came to, social media. He reached out independently to a lot of other authors, to a lot of influencers. He was there, I think, at all literature festivals. He made it a point to be visible himself. And once people started noticing him and his books, that's when, things just kind of turned around for him. And he then had the media noticing him and publishers noticing him. So why I'm telling you this is because somehow or the other, what you really need to try and do is create visibility for yourself. It can start off small and you can slowly build that up. But that's the only example of an indie author that I can tell you about, because I haven't worked with any. But I have advised enough who don't even, who haven't yet, approached a publisher or a literary agent. So I have talked to a lot of people where they are at the book writing stage itself on, what is required when it comes to marketing, what is required when it comes to, even approaching a publisher.
Thanks, Rachna. And a related,
that was great. Thanks.
Madhavan has a related question about what will be the budget for a self-publishing author if he has.
That's very, very difficult because you can start off with as little as 10,000-20,000 and then there's no limit. Somebody like Vineet Bajpai, I'm sure, must have spent a few lakhs. That's for sure. But more important is how you actually utilize that budget. If you have, say, maybe 10,000 rupees, they might be better spent on, Amazon, rather than you spending it perhaps on, trying to run a campaign or on Instagram or things like that, where you can try and get things done, perhaps free of cost, or try and build your audience over a period of time organically without having to spend too much on ads, or, limit the kind of ad spends that you have. So that entirely depends on the kind of book that you have. That's one. But yeah, it can start as low as, I would say, 10,000. 10,000 would be a decent amount for you to perhaps spend on Amazon ads, where you already have an audience that's coming to search for books. Right? And then Amazon can be your area of focus. You can create an author page there. You can get everyone in your network to buy from Amazon and review your book there, because Amazon reviews do help you, do help push your book up when it comes to visibility on Amazon itself. So there's no set budget. There's no average budget.
Thanks, Rachna. You can continue with the presentation.
Okay. So, like I said, just to encapsulate, in Neha's case, we used publicity and we created this entire idea of running, an Instagram campaign, which we built into, the retail and Momspresso and various other channels as well. And that actually did create a lot of buzz. We did get a lot of interest, and it really did help with book sales. So one thing that you need to definitely do lines and make sure all your promotions feed off each other and feed into each other. So whatever you're doing, just make sure you don't do it in isolation. Try and utilize that one thing to and combine it with other things. So think of one idea and just try and see how you can amplify that. The next book I can very quickly take you through is this book called 16 Stormy Days, the First Amendment to the Constitution of India by Tripur Daman Singh. So again, the way I approached, Tripur Daman's book was to first try and understand the author's profile, try and understand the author's presence, try and understand, what the publisher was planning to do for the author, and again, bring it all together and create a plan that would work, keeping in mind what the genre of the book is, the audience that we're targeting, and so on. We wanted to, so with Tripur Daman, he had a very small presence. Tripur Daman is an academic and a historian. He teaches at a university in UK, and he had done one book earlier, but that was an academic work which was based on his PhD. So he wasn't very well known to the media. He had a very limited or almost non-existent social media presence. And so what we wanted to try and actually do in the long term was to create a profile of Tripur Daman, as a young historian, as a young non-fiction writer to watch out for. And we wanted to build his online presence using his academic credentials. Once we analyzed his presence, we realized, like I said, he actually had almost no presence whatsoever. So we started work on his profile. I think it was about 3 months before, 2 or 3 months before the book actually came out. And we wanted to build interest in the book through conversations that formed, part of the public discourse at that point of time. The book came out in Jan 2020, on Jan 26, 2020, the 70th anniversary of the Constitution of India. So we wanted to use that, as a plug to talk about the book. And that was the time when, the whole CAA, Shaheen Bagh, JNU, all those incidents had taken place. So talking about, freedom of speech, talking about sedition, all those kind of things, it was very, very topical. So we created our messaging around all that. We talked about how, the term sedition came to be part of, law, how, freedom of speech was impacted because of the First Amendment to the Constitution of India. So keeping all that in mind, we decided to do a combination of things. We decided to again use publicity and use marketing to amplify that publicity. So I approached Times of India and I offered them a piece that was very, very topical. at that point of time, and we used that to create the first bit of publicity for the book. So the moment there's a piece out in Times of India, it's the world's largest English language daily. It's not even India's largest English language daily. But so that actually helped kickstart the publicity. We built that into how we wanted to communicate to our audience on social media. We did a few things, like we created a video that talked about what the book was all about. We got the author to do a few videos talking about certain conversations that were happening, that were currently in the news. We got the author to become active on Twitter again, follow a lot of people. We also reached out to a lot of well-known people in the media space, and also people who are interested, in history, in law. We covered a whole range of influencers. We reached out to well-known lawyers, well-known people in that space. We reached out to people like, Rajdeep Sardesai. We reached out to historians. We reached out to a whole lot of influencers. How that helps on Twitter is when they actually tweet about a book, talk about a book. And that just feeds into what you are trying to, how you're publicizing the book through the media, how you're communicating about it, again, through Facebook as well. So we used a lot of those quotes, we used a lot of those influencer endorsements to feed into our Facebook communication as well. So all this together, helped build a profile for the author. And today, in fact, very recently, because he's now, we've managed to create that effect. He was recently interviewed by Karan Thapar for his, show on The Wire. So, again, this may sound a little confusing when I try and take you through a campaign like this, because there's a lot more that goes into it. But again, what I'm trying to say is have a theme, have a message, have an idea, have one key idea, and then see how you're going to try and use that across all the platforms that you identify for creating visibility for your book. Any questions here?
Yeah, Abhay is asking whether you sent copies of the books to the influencers that you just mentioned.
Yes, it is very important to do that because a lot of them do actually read the book. If even if they don't read the book, then even a tweet of them just with a picture of the book, or just a picture of the book in which they mention the book, that's very important. And they're not really going to consider your tweeting about it unless and until they've actually seen it and they believe in it. So it's also up to you how you pitch your book, how you talk about your book. Try and make it as relevant to, see, when I'm talking about audiences, reader is one thing, but even if you're reaching out to influencers, you have to make it relevant to them. So in Tripur Daman's case, this is a book, covers contemporary history, talked about Nehru, talked about the Constitution, therefore, /law, talked about, brought in current affairs. So each person that you reach out to, the way you pitch it to, a lawyer is going to be very different to the way you pitch it to a media personality. Or say, you want to pitch it to a Rumila Thapar. When you pitch it to Rumila Thapar, you're going to pitch it very different. You're not going to talk about the legal aspects of it. You will focus on the historical aspect of it. So that's how you reach out to them. try and create that interest individually as well. And most of these people are quite, easy to reach. They're not that difficult on Twitter. You can reach out to them. Many of them are very, very responsive. In the case of, there may be people, if you're writing about a particular industry, there may be people you can reach out to in that who have a huge network, who have a lot of followers. Also think about what you want them to do. Right? I mean, it's not necessary that they are on Twitter. There are other ways that they can help create that word of mouth publicity for your book. If you work in an organization, is there some way that the HR can help you? Is there some way that your organization can help you? Can your organization help you create any kind of a speaker opportunity? So when I'm talking about influencers, it's not necessarily on Twitter. That was, obviously, when it came to Tripur Daman's book, it was, that's the platform that we chose to use.
Thanks, Rachna.
So I'm also checking methods of benchmarking. I'm just trying to see the. Okay, everyone's just given an introduction. Yeah, I can give you a few more, just very teeny tiny examples. There was this book, let me just get it. Just give me a second. You were talking about, somebody asked about an indie author and also I haven't worked, like I said, with or helped market any indie authors. But, my great aunt, she started writing her first book at 80 plus. Fabulous woman, amazing woman, because she writes on her iPad, edits on her iPad. This is at a time when even, somebody like me at my age finds it very difficult to do that. And she did exactly what I would have recommended that she do. She used her personal network, to create that word of mouth publicity. She tied up with small bookstores. She went and gave little talks there. She got people to get interested in her. Of course, her USP here was, an 80-year-old who's written a debut novel. She's now written 3, by the way. And so she used that and she actually managed to, she had a physical edition of a book out there. She made sure it was displayed at the World Book Fair. She made sure copies of her book were available at certain key stores, key bookstores. Then when she talked about, what her book was all about, she covered different kind of themes. It was a love story, the time period where it was set, the characters, all those kind of things. So she, I would say, is a really good example of what you can do because, her profile was so unique. She, through some people, also managed to get a little write-up in one of the big newspapers and magazines. So, you can do things little by little. You just need to spend a little time thinking about, what are the hooks that you can create. So very quickly, so this was, how I think about books very differently. This was a book called, Rajneesh Chronicles. This is about Osho, and this was that whole expose about Bhagwan Rajneesh. And there's this Netflix show that had come out. I don't, what was that show called? I think it was called Wild Wild Country. I think it was last year. So that show was actually based on this book. So that's the peg that I used then, because that show had gone viral. And that's the peg that I used to create some publicity for this book, and the shocking events that inspired the Netflix show kind of a thing. This was a debut author. And again, this was a literary fiction. But again, this talked a lot about immigration. It talked about, racism. It talked about a lot of challenges that an immigrant faces even after so many years of living in America. So again, you have to also think about what are the conversations around you that are going on. Try and, build a conversation around your book, keeping those conversations in mind. Try and see what you can do. Those are the kind of, little things that you can actually do on social media, on, other places, while talking to people. Try and make it very, very relevant to your audiences. Should I go back now to the...
yeah, Garima has a question Garima has a question. Do you engage with editors when you are making a marketing plan for a book?
And very much so.
How much can an editor help?
Oh, very much so. An editor is the best person to tell you about the book. Editors are very, very, I work very, very closely with an editor of a book. So right now, for example, the books that I'm working on, I have before I begin working on the plan, I have a long chat with the editor, because there are things that the editor would have thought of. There are things, the editor would have a certain vision for the book. And it's important for me to know about that, because, that is how I will also then approach it. If the editor has thought of the book being written in a certain way, or structuring it in a certain way because of a certain reason, it's very important for me to know that, because that's how I will then also communicate it to the reader. Plus, no one knows a book as well as the author or the editor does. And even if I've read the book, I read it as a reader. There are things that I might miss out on. There are points that I might not be aware of. So it's very, very important to, have those conversations with the editor. They are very, very important part of putting together a marketing plan.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Fiction versus non-fiction. Okay, some of them, non-fiction, I would say, is a lot easier to pitch, because somewhere you can, some kind of topicality you can just pull out from, non-fiction. And India is a non-fiction-led market. People do read fiction. It's very interesting, but even most publishers, if you see, focus a lot on non-fiction. Non-fiction is what tends to get, traditional publicity in the press and everything. I actually approach it in all books the same way, by answering all the basic questions, that I've taken you through. And then it's the ideas actually of how you want to, that you work out once you've put together your marketing plan, that may differ. The platforms may differ. For example, Instagram is where I would go if I had, say, a commercial fiction book rather than a Twitter. Twitter lends itself more to, conversations when it comes to non-fiction books. But the basics will remain the same when it comes to figuring out or working out a marketing plan.
embark on a marketing plan, the author will have to be continuously engaged, right, with the Twitter or whatever it is to be able to respond.
Yeah. That's why I said, if you start thinking about your marketing maybe 3 to 6 months ahead of time, if you already have a plan in place, even if you do things like design those creatives, create those post copies, you work on that, it'll be much easier for you. Because, it does take time. Social media itself takes time. If you have the budgets, it's always good to get somebody to actually run that for you. But but if you don't have the budgets, you will have to run everything yourself. Each platform works differently. You'll have to familiarize yourself with each platform, spend a little time on it. So if, once your book is out, after that, you just want to focus on pushing it out. That's not the time to spend on getting to know about a platform, right? Just prior to that, you can actually experiment a little, look at other stuff that's happening, figure out what's going to work best for you, assess how people are going to respond to you, all those kind of things. If you have it in place, then you can have that maybe 6 weeks or 8 weeks in which you're just going to push the book out. Because the more it's visible across different platforms, the more chances of it getting noticed by different people. Right? Rather than if you do something on Twitter one day and, have a tweet one day, and next day you have something on Instagram, then, next week you have something on Facebook. So it doesn't work in spurts. It doesn't work in bits and pieces like that. It has to be consistent. It has to be in sync, and you have to have a certain timeline in place. That's very, very important for any campaign. So for publicity, for example, if I'm looking at a pure publicity-led campaign, to me, the first 2 weeks are the most crucial. And I'll just give you an example. I'm working on this book called Jugalbandi, the BJP Before Modi by Vinay Sitapati. And the book came out on 23rd of November. So that's just a little under a month ago. And we had planned all the publicity with. So we started off with Times of India on 22nd, which had a big excerpt, which had a front page pointer, which had 2 videos, which we'd worked on, which we'd pitched, of course. And that rest of the week, it was, it had op-eds, it had a TV, it had video interviews, it had a review, multiple things. And the second weekend is, again, when we had a whole chunk of publicity. So if you manage to get a whole lot of visibility within a 2-week period, create some kind of a blast, and, that really helps. But here I'm talking about media publicity, media. I'm not talking about social media and all, because that continues. So in Vinay's case, we got all that publicity, but again, we're using a lot of that publicity, a lot of those video interviews. We've created special content, and we're using that on his Facebook page, which again, we've created. So Vinay was off and on Twitter. He didn't have anything on Facebook. Political biography, not very relevant to an Instagram audience. So our focus was Twitter and Facebook. We created a Facebook page for him. And now we're using that. We're boosting, we're running ads there, all those kind of things. Again, if you have an interview with a Barkha Dutt, which has, say, 50,000 views, right? On Facebook, you boost that, you promote that, you advertise that, it will reach a much larger audience that may not have followed that particular interview. So that's how we've run this. That's how we use both of them together. Do you want me? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. There's a question like, what are the changes that have to be made to marketing strategies in view of the current COVID situation? which might prevail for the next 1 year at least?
See, I would say don't focus so much on retail. Focus on social media. Focus on digital. Familiarize yourself with all the everyone's on digital and social, right? And that is where you have to be. And therefore, it's even more important for you to understand how to use it, how to work it, and create something interesting, some interesting content that's going to work for your readers. Avoid, I would say for now, unless and until it is, if you're in Delhi, for example, if there are some indie bookstores that are going out of their way to do stuff, if they are, still getting visitors, then they may be a good place for you to tie up with. But otherwise, just focus on social and spend time getting to know, how it works.
And in case in case we are engaging someone to run all these campaigns, so how much will be the budget? Like, what will be the total cost of the campaign?
See, that actually depends on what all you're going in for. It's different. There you have a lot of different digital agencies out there who can help you. You also have individuals who can help run your social media. If if you're the mom or a dad of a teenage child, use them for creating things like, and a short video. They're pros at it. They're absolute pros at it. And, they'll be able to create the content for you like that. But if you want to engage somebody, it actually depends. I mean, I work with an agency. They're my partners when it comes to, digital and social. I don't run it myself. But again, if you just want them to manage your Facebook, there'll be a different cost. If you want them to manage 2 platforms, if you want them to help you with retail, if you want them to help with Amazon. So, it's very difficult for me to tell you what kind of a fee to set aside. But what I can do is, if anyone's interested, I can connect you to, the agency that I work with, a wonderful girl called Ayushi. She herself has worked in publishing, so she knows books. She knows what the book space is all about. She's also worked with some indie authors. So, I would recommend her. And Vivek, I can send her details to you. And actually, at some point, if anyone of you want to get a decent understanding of, social and advertising, maybe you could set up a session with her too.
Yeah, that would be great. And Parul would actually like to get connected to you also. And maybe I think the other participants also. So I will pass on your email ID and your presentation.
Please do.
To them.
Please do.
Yeah.
Please do. Yeah. And please, I know some of my, I hope I've been able to explain, some of these campaigns. I've tried to give an overview because there's a lot of thought that goes into creating a campaign. So it's not very easy for me to just, talk about it in 5 minutes. So it might come across as disjointed, but, there is a lot of thought that we put into it before we come up with a very specific plan. And it's only when, the author also agrees to it, the author also feels comfortable with it, that's when we actually, implement it.
Yes, Deepthi has a question. Do reader reviews on sites like Goodreads or Amazon help with book sales?
Amazon, absolutely. Goodreads, there was a time when Goodreads used to allow a lot of promotions and everything here. Sure, it's good to be on Goodreads, but I'm not too sure how many people really engage on Goodreads. Amazon, definitely. Amazon, absolutely. And I would recommend, let me actually, Deepti, let me just go back to each one of the platforms. So if the screen can be shared again where I've displayed, some of the platforms, and I can quickly talk about each one and the advantages, disadvantages, and where perhaps you'd like, the one that you think you should focus on.
Again.
Yeah. But in the meantime, so let me talk very quickly about Amazon. Amazon, of course, if you're an indie author, if you're self-publishing, if you're using Kindle, it is the most important, platform for you. And it already has an audience that's there to search for either a particular book or just browse. So you already have a captive audience there. So there are a few things that you can definitely do. One is, of course, create, an author profile for yourself, especially if you have multiple books, if you're planning to write more books, try and use that. The second is and this is where I think your networks also become very, very important. They are your biggest ambassadors. Don't give away free copies of your book. Get all your friends and family to buy your book and get them to buy it from Amazon. And then, because the moment you buy a book from Amazon, you're a verified purchase. It reflects as a verified purchase, and then try and get as many of them to write a review on Amazon as possible. Because the more reviews you have, the way Amazon works, the more chances of you being on top when someone searches for a book in a particular genre or against keywords, things like that. So that's something that you can definitely, that's not going to cost you any money. And as, even if you're reaching out to a reader, if you're reaching out to bloggers directly as authors, you can run certain blogger engagement programs. But if, as an author, you reach out to bookstagrammers or bloggers directly, you can also request them to also review your book on Amazon, because the more reviews you have, the better it is. I think previous slide, if you just, the one just before this one. So, no, after the one that shows Facebook, I think it's the third last slide. This one, yes, please. So when it comes to, social media, what are the platforms that are most popular? Facebook continues to be the most popular in India. It's, I think, it's for Facebook also, I think it's the largest market or the second largest market. I'm not exactly sure any longer, but it is absolutely huge, and it is necessary. Whether you're on Instagram or not, even if you use Instagram as your your primary platform, it is important for you to be on Facebook for many, many reasons. Facebook, like I said, pretty much everyone is on Facebook, though it has a an audience of not such a young audience any longer. The younger audience has shifted to Instagram, and of course, when it comes to kids and all, they are a lot on Snapchat and a few other places as well. But Facebook allows you a few things that Instagram doesn't. Facebook allows you to hyperlink. Facebook allows you to, boost posts in a way that Instagram doesn't, helps you reach out to a much, much larger audience. And Instagram has its limitations. It won't allow you to share a link. You have to share it on your profile. It has its own way of displaying videos. There are different things that keep changing. But if you're using Instagram, also replicate that on Facebook, but use Facebook with hyperlinks, etc. When you run a campaign on Facebook, you can, if you're also simultaneously running an advertising campaign on Amazon, you can also track how many people have clicked on that Amazon link. So what Facebook will help you with is it'll give you a lot more insights also on how your campaign is running. It'll give you options of running multiple ads targeted at the same audience. So you can also then run parallel ads for a period of time and then switch off the ones that are not working, focus just on the one that's working. There are a whole lot of options. So Facebook is necessary when you want to reach a really, really large audience. It doesn't, irrespective of what genre of book, you are marketing. Instagram, it's changing now, but it's very good for creating visibility. You can't really track sales. It doesn't necessarily translate into sales. It's very helpful if you have a lot of visuals to share, if you want to run a campaign that allows you to exchange visuals. So if you have a travelogue, right? If you've written a book about your travels through a certain area, and you have a campaign idea in which you're asking people to share images, in which you over a period of time want to share images, create really pretty, designs and images. Instagram is a really good space for you. Instagram is where a lot of what we call bookstagrammers are present. They themselves, if you tie up with bookstagrammers, if you reach out to them, they help you actually with visibility of your book. At times it's a paid for campaign. Sometimes as an author, you can reach out to them directly. If you're an author, they may agree to run campaigns for you, without any additional charges, getting a copy of your book. But this is a space where there's a lot more conversation on books that are visual, books, fiction, science fiction, fantasy. All those genres work very, very well for Instagram because they have a lot of followers. You can check out the hashtag bookstagrammers, and you'll be able to see a whole lot of Instagrammers there who do that, and you'll get an idea of the kind of posts that they put up, the kind of conversations around books that work, etc. Publishers are also on Instagram. Bookstores are also on Instagram. Pretty much everyone is there when it comes to showing a visual of a book. LinkedIn works very, very well if you have a book that lends itself to that kind of profile. If it's a book on management, if it's a book on communications, if it's a very industry specific kind of a book, LinkedIn is really, really a good place today. And during COVID, LinkedIn has become a more popular than it ever was. There are a lot of people out there, of course, looking for jobs, but a lot of people have also found this to be a really good place for serious conversations. So if you have a book, say on skills, management, inspirational stories, anything like that, that works really well on LinkedIn. Twitter, like I mentioned earlier, it is a platform that requires a lot of time and energy. Ideally, you should run your Twitter handle yourself, because Twitter usually works, better or best if you respond very quickly. You tweet something that's topical, you respond to tweets immediately. But building an audience on Twitter does take time. Now, I think one thing that perhaps I didn't really mention earlier was when it comes to Facebook, I'm sure most of you have a profile on Facebook. Many of you would be on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter as well. But while you might have a personal profile, please remember that doesn't work for marketing. You have to have a page. You have to have a business page, because from your personal profile, you cannot run ads, you cannot boost posts. There are a lot of things that you cannot do. So please create an author profile for yourself. Also, don't create a page for a book. I would recommend that you create a page for yourself, because a book will have very limited, a book may have a life of 1 year. And the content that you create around the book will be limited. There's only so much that you can create, so much conversation that you can have around a book, if it's, say, a fiction or short stories or whatever it is. So you might as well create a page, an author page for yourself, where you not only talk about the book, which you can use to write short posts talking about perhaps some other book, announcements that you want to make. And that's something that can last you for a much longer time, till perhaps your next book also comes out. So it's a space that you can use for pretty much all kinds of conversations that you have on books, not necessarily just your book. So yeah, that's there. Instagram, it's the same thing. Instagram also, it will be good for you to, if you want to keep certain parts of your life, private, then do create a separate page. Facebook, it's absolutely necessary. I just talked about Vinay Sitapathi's book. Vinay is not on Facebook, but he has an author page, right? And when his next book comes out, whenever he writes it, we can continue using the same page for him. We don't have to go through that entire exercise. Also, on Facebook, you need to build an audience that goes beyond your friends and family. They're already there on Facebook, right? So anyone who likes your book, they ought to be able to come to a place where they can like what you're writing, and so on. So those are a couple of tips. YouTube, if you videos and visuals are something that work really well. Very short videos work really, really well on Facebook at the moment. Also on Instagram. Try and create a small book trailer. It doesn't have to have fancy, animation or anything like that. Like I said, if you have a teenager around you, they're usually pros at stringing together short videos. So get them to help. Make sure the content is very small, very specific. It just gets your reader interested enough to at least go and look up your book. Look for your book in a bookstore or on Amazon or wherever. You can run these videos on Facebook. You can boost those videos on Facebook. You can use them to advertise. YouTube, if you have a short video, that's great. You can have it up on YouTube. YouTube advertising works through Google Ads. I'm not going to get into Google Ads because that's a little complicated, and I'll leave that for Ayushi to do if we have a session with her. Website, a lot of authors come to me asking if they should have a website. Website is a very good idea. Again, if you are planning to keep it what we call live. So if you just want to create a website for now and then let it go, it's not worth the time and energy and effort that you put into it. If you have multiple books in the pipeline, if you have written books earlier, if you have enough conversation that has happened around those books, if you want to capture it all in one place, then yes, you should go in for a website, but make sure you keep refreshing the look of your website every few months. Even if it's by just adding one feature or changing some design element or the other. Otherwise, it just starts looking very dated and very boring. Website is actually a very good idea to have if you want to start capturing, your audience. So I recommend this if you're willing to spend that much of time, if you have that much to talk about. I'm sure a lot of you subscribe to newsletters by some of your favorite authors or writers or whoever it is. You can create a space, you can create a subscription element on your website so that any reader who comes and is interested in knowing more about your books or anything that's forthcoming can, you can capture that data and keep communicating with them. But again, like I said, this requires, you need to do that at a certain frequency. It can't be ad hoc. Again, you can't have, you writing to them only when your next book is coming out, or, maybe every 6 months. The frequency should at least be once a month. Have a newsletter, have something that goes out to them, do something new. You can do simple things like, once a month have a giveaway, or once a month, have a special promotion on your book. And how having this data helps is you already have an existing, fan base that you can use for your next book. But think a little about why you want to use a certain, channel. Amazon, I've already talked about. Retail, I've already talked about. Native ads are nothing but if you go on your mobile right now, all of you, and you go to, say, an NDTV or you go to any other app, these are all the ads that pop up in between. And those are paid for advertorials, or those are paid for ads and all. And that's something, again, that you can invest in. I won't be able to give you a budget on this. I'll leave it to, an expert to get back to you on how this works. I do understand how they work, but it is a little complicated. And but this is, again, one more option also that you have. What it does is it will show your ad or pop up your ad in a place that you have selected, especially media outlets and all, so that anyone who has similar kind of interests or who is searching for a particular keyword, the ad is what we call served to them. So if I'm looking for, just to give you an example, if I'm looking for, some legal case, if I'm searching for the Supreme Court, right? If I'm reading an article on the Supreme Court, I'd want my book on Tripur Daman to pop up there, right? Because I already, I already am a reader that's reading about something that's connected to the book, talking about law, talking about the Constitution, whatever it is. So it's a little complicated. You have to use keywords and things like that. But if you have the budget, it's not a bad idea to explore native ads either. So, Abha, yes, I am an independent consultant. And if you want a book on New York Times bestseller list, well, bestseller lists don't really, you can't buy space on a New York Times bestseller list. It entirely depends on the sales of your book. But yeah, I mean, you know, you'll use similar platforms, but your audience may be different geographically. There are all those things that, you know, you have to then work out. So are there any other questions or?
Yeah, Madhavan has a question. How does it work out in terms of sales numbers versus costs?
Yeah, that's a very, very good question. And so I would say, you know, it's very hard to put a percentage, but as a ballpark, if you say want to sell 2,000 copies priced at $5.99, I would say at least keep, if you're a first-time author, you're building an audience, keep at least, how much does that work out to be? 2,000 into 600 is 1.2, right? Yeah. 1.2, I would say be willing to spend much more as a first-time author. Keep a budget of, I would think, at least 20-25% for sure to begin with. I mean, you may have to see, the more you spend, the more visibility you're going to get. It's as simple as that. That's not to say that you just spend where and when. It is important to be very strategic about it. But yeah, if you want to get a certain amount of visibility, then you will need to spend at least, let me give you a figure rather than versus sales, because, you know, it may just be 500 copies, it may just be 200 copies. And you won't, especially if you, you know, ebooks works very differently. So I would say, if to begin with, try and have, maybe if you can even spare, say, 50,000, right? I think that will be a decent budget for you to at least create a little publicity, you know, a little visibility. But, you know, my last slide actually says it's not about the budget that you have, it's about how you utilize that budget. That's more important. You know, if you're able to figure out what platform, if you're able to come up with great ideas, if you work, and that's why I suggest that you start 6 months at least, because you can reach out to bloggers, you can reach out to people, you can figure out how many people are willing to talk about your book free of cost, how many people are willing to help you out. Just put it all together. And that includes, like I said, you know, don't take your own network for granted. You know, don't just send out a WhatsApp post saying my book is out, please buy my book. Use them very strategically as well. Give them things to do as well. You know, get them to tell, you know, your really close friends, tell them to tell 10 other people about the book. You know, I mean, there are a lot of things that you can, and I'm sure they'll be willing to help.
Yeah,
I'm actually very interested that no one's asked me about book launches.
Rani, yeah, I think they will. But Rani has a question on whether you have run any thriller book campaigns. She has self-published thrillers on Amazon, and marketing continues to be a stumbling block even after 4 books.
Right. Okay. You know, I don't think I can give you an answer right here, right now. I have worked on thrillers. I have worked on crime fiction. I am trying to remember the name of the book. I'm so sorry, but this is quite a few years ago. But that book has since been optioned, and is on, I think, Hotstar as a series now. Arun Raman's book. Gosh, it was a long time back, but yes, I worked on that. I worked on, crime fiction. I worked on different kinds of crime fiction, hardcore crime fiction. I worked on this series by Madhumita Bhattacharya, and trying to remember the name of the character there. I'm so sorry, everyone, but my memory can, it goes with old age, I think. So I'm trying to remember Reema Ray Mysteries. Yes, thankfully it didn't fail me today. So Reema Ray Mysteries. So yes, I have worked that out. But if you can maybe write to me, I can have a separate chat with you about that.
Yeah, I think a lot of participants, they are definitely going to reach out to you with their specific questions.
Yeah, Anupam, I saw that you put my Windward Consulting Gmail. Can you put my other one, please? Rachna@windward.in. Yeah, this one.
Garima had a question about whether you can touch upon briefly on a career in book marketing.
Okay. Okay. Where do you want me to begin? How to get into book marketing? How to, join?
For someone who's just looking to make a fresh start.
Okay. Do you have a background at all in marketing or communications or PR or anything?
Well, I worked briefly at an advertising agency, but that was quite brief. And after that, I moved to editing and book publishing. So that's where I am right now.
Okay, well, publishers do what you can try and do to get an understanding of how publishers work, how book marketing works, is number one, of course, keep a lookout for any job opportunities at an entry level or for someone with a year or two of experience. And most publishers will post it on LinkedIn. So do follow all the publishers there. Have a profile there, and do keep applying. And, as somebody who's going to start off in book marketing, I think, when you interview with publishers, they won't ask you for, they're not going to ask you very, very specific questions when it comes to marketing per se. What marketing really requires, honestly, and this comes from around 2 decades of experience, it just requires a lot of common sense. So, but yeah, so the kind of questions that publishers will ask you is to, maybe work out a small marketing plan for them. They might give you a couple of books and they might ask you to think of how you want to market this particular book. And they don't really look, there are no right or wrong answers. I think what they really look at is if you are able to actually think a little out of the box or come up with maybe even one idea, or if you have just a sense of how, books work. That's about it. So that's how I mean, when I interviewed, my first interview was with Penguin. And since then, I have interviewed a lot of people. I've set up marketing teams and all. And I actually look for someone who's very passionate about books, someone who reads. That's very important. And someone who's willing to, at an entry level, someone who's willing to actually spend time in understanding what publishing is all about and how it works.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So any other questions?
Hello, this is Venkatesh. Yeah. Not about anything related to marketing, but I just want to know, working with Vinay Sitapati.
Yeah. Sorry, what about working with Vinay Sitapati?
No, how was the experience? How did you find
fantastic. Fantastic.
Because I've read his Half-Line and found it very, very interesting. Very well.
No, he's a fantastic writer. And I'm not saying it because I'm working with him, but I think he makes a whole lot of, stuff very accessible. But of course, he brings in all his, expertise in academic writing to this while making it accessible. So I think he just kind of really blends it well. There's a whole lot of research that's gone into. He's very clear about everything. He's very quick, and it's been an absolute, I think, delight working with him. And yeah, you should, if you've read Half-Line, you should definitely read this book. We made it a point when we did the publicity for the book to actually make sure that people understand that it's a very balanced kind of a view, irrespective of what your political leanings are. This is a book that won't make you tear your hair out or get angry or, really get annoyed. It's a very neutral writing on how the BJP came to be where it is today and how Mr. Modi came to be where he is today. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Siladitya Sinha Roy, he has a question like, we would like to know more about the marketing aspects on one of our forthcoming titles on feminism. And he runs an independent publishing outfit in Delhi.
Mr. Roy, then I suggest you write to me. And, we can then, I think, talk about that separately.
Yeah, I think he will have passed on your email ID.
Yeah, sure. Because I can't really, I hope my talk today has, a lot of it was basics, but I hope that's helped you just rethink, how you want to approach marketing and just structure it a little bit. So maybe the slide before, I think that's where I've given, a few things that, yeah. So yeah, I think these are my.
So that was a marathon session, and thanks everyone for staying along. And before we end, I will take one last question. It's from Deepthi. It's December. It's December, so a lot of year-end lists. Do you try to get clients on them?
On the year-enders?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, usually most year-enders, all the media outlets and everyone reach out to the publishers directly. For year-enders, I do have journalists reaching out to me, but I don't usually have too much of information to give them because I tend to sign books on, say, around 3 months before they publish. So I'm not really able to help them, but yes, when I was, working full-time at all these places, I would put down the highlights for the year and share them with all the media outlets.
Thanks, Rachna, for answering all the questions. We will also pass on the comments that came via the chat box to you so that...
Yes, please.
If anything remained unanswered or if I missed, you can answer that. And I think some of the comments can even form the foundation of a blog that you can write about.
All right, I will think about that. But yeah, no, I can definitely put all this down in a piece and just, in the same sequence. That's not a problem. But thank you so much, everyone. I know it's a Sunday and a cold Sunday for those in Delhi. And yeah, I mean, this has been a lengthy session, but I hope it's helped you a little bit. And good luck to all of you.
Yeah, thanks, Rachna, and do pass on Ayushi's number because a lot of participants.
I'll just send it to you. I'll send you her email ID, and I'll let her know, to expect quite a few emails.
Yeah, and maybe she can do a session. She would be welcome.
Yeah.
It can.
So I'll ask her if she can.
Yeah, it will be like a follow-up to your session.
Yeah, because I've just skimmed through, the social media and the digital part of it, because I look at the strategy part of it, I look at the platforms and everything, I leave the actual execution to the experts. It is time-consuming work. So, yeah.
Thanks, Rachna, and thanks all the participants.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Have a nice day and
Thank you.
See you all on Saturday for our interview session, where Surit Das will be interviewing Venkatesh, who is present in the audience today. And next Sunday, we will end the year with a session on MS Excel by Murugaraj Shanmugam. So that's all for now. Have a nice day.
Thank you.